Hey, what's going on? Dr. O with a cool anatomy tutorial on the wrist and hand and a little carpal tunnel. And we will also cover a condition called tenosynovitis, DeQuervain's tenosynovitis. Say that 3 times fast. Tenosynovitis, tenosynovitis, tenosynovitis. It's not that bad. Okay, so here we've got what's called the dorsum of the hand and the entire forearm here, called the antebrachium. We got a bunch of muscles in there. I'll put some skin on it. Ooh, so luxurious. We're going to cover the detailed anatomy of the wrist, forearm, and hand. So look at those layers of muscles. Look at the wonder we have here, man. It's incredible. The dexterity that we have. All the nerve endings, sensitive nerve endings that are bringing us that sensation of touch. It's friggin' unbelievable. All right, let me just clear out all the blood vessels and we will look at the hand. So, the dorsum of the hand, or the back of the hand, is here. We flip that over. We've got the palmar aspect of the hand, and then the wrist is not called the wrist, we call it the carpal region. And the digits are numbered from the thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thumb is called the pollex in Latin, in anatomy speak. So let's explore this here. Let's go beneath the surface of the skin, the epidermis, the stratified squamous epithelium, which covers us with the protein keratin, which is like a suit of armor. We're all kind of wearing a suit of armor in a way. It's nuts. These constantly dividing cells, fried egg in shape, and they just hold on really, really tight and bond together like a suit of armor, like a chainmail suit protecting us from the weather and from the critters and from the external environment, abrasions, etc. And they're constantly making new skin cells. And yes, dust is a primary constituent of dust are these dead skin cells. So pretty incredible. Our largest organ, our skin. Yes? Okay. So let's take a gander here. Let's start with the palmar aspect. We have what's called a palmar aponeurosis, which is this fan-shaped structure there in the middle. And it is, you might remember the plantar aponeurosis, which is the plantar fascia, and the similarities between the foot and the hand, how this is what we would call the palm heel, and then the digits are the fingers, right? Same thing on the sole of the foot. The plantar aspect, we've got the heel or the calcaneus, and from there, this point, it will fan out to all the digits of the toes. So very, very similar hand and feet. It's an incredible design here. So check out that, and all those little tendons that are going to be coming from muscles. All the muscles are all those red meat-like structures there. These are all the flexors, okay? So flexor carpi radialis. That means the flexor muscle of the wrist on the radial side, which is the thumb side. There's a bone called the radius that we're going to talk about, whereas the ulna is on the other side. So we've got the palmar aponeurosis and those tendons that are going to be going to various degrees all the way down to the tips of the fingers to give us grasp, all right, and dexterity. And look in the wrist, we've got something called a flexor retinaculum. It's like a little wrist bracelet, like a little sweatband or something, a piece of connective tissue. Everything that's white is connective tissue. It's made of collagen fibers laid down in various orientations. So this is going to hold the function of this horizontal band here is to hold down all the tendons of the of the flexor compartment, all these muscles, one of which is in blue, and they're going to come underneath there. Underneath that, let's look deep to the flexor retinaculum. All right, so here we go. And we see the carpal bones. They're the wrist bones. All those little like rocks in there, like gemstones that are kind of oriented and you know, resting up against one another. If you move your wrist around, you hear some little clicks and pops. You can imagine all those little bones in there, the carpal bones. And then we've got the radius, which is a long bone on the thumb side. You can see that's a big bone at the end. And then we've got the ulna. And those are the two bones that make up the forearm. So let's talk about these conditions now. These injuries, you know, because I had somebody the other week that came in last week, and I said, I'm going to do a little video for you about a condition called DeQuervain's tenosynovitis. So let's go to the dorsal side. So right here, if you look at these two tendons, or three tendons actually, there's a little triangle. You look at the angle of the thumb, the tendon goes straight, and then it goes kind of at an angle there. Same thing with this one. It takes that angle. Whereas the rest of these tendons are kind of oriented straight. All right, this is the other side of the forearm. These are the extensor compartments. So again, it's got an extensor retinaculum, this horizontal band that holds all the tendons down. Tendons go all the way down to the tips of the fingers on that side. So because of the angle of the dangle of this tendon here that attaches to the thumb, so it's going to be called an extensor of the thumb, extensor digitorum, extensor carpi, let's see, extensor and abductor pollicis. That's what it'd be called, because the pollex is the thumb. Yes. So, yeah, I'm telling you, yes. So each of these tendons, imagine it like a wire, like a cable, and the tendons surrounding them is this thing called a tendon sheath, and it's kind of like a piston in a cylinder arrangement, where the tendon sheath makes sure that the tendon slides very accurately and slippery. It lubricates the tendons as they're constantly working and pulling, especially on the thumb, right? So imagine a piston in the cylinder of your car. They always show you the NASCAR videos where, you know, the engine with whatever friggin' type of synthetic motor oil does not break down. But if we use the competitors, then the piston seizes up and then the car won't run. So similar to that, the friction in the tendon sheath, between the tendon and its sheath, can cause real problems with inflammation and pain, and then that tendon freezes up in the sheath or otherwise gets irritated when you move your thumb, which we're constantly using our opposable thumbs, right? So these two tendons get pissed off. So tenosynovitis, teno, tendon, synovium, which is the tendon sheath that surrounds the tendon, and itis means inflammation. So inflammation of the tendon, that's what's happened there. And it's due to excessive use of the thumb, which we can't help but do, and also the angle of these tendons as they go from the thumb through the wrist. Right? Secondly, let's talk about carpal tunnel syndrome. I'm going to put all these blood vessels and nerves in there. And as we go through the palmar surface, you see that there's all kinds of tendons that are traveling through the wrist. I disappear them, I fade them back in. You can see that they all go through a rather narrow passageway here between this flexor retinaculum and the carpals are underneath these tendons. So there's a feature that I can use to cut this, and so I can show you slice through. Let's give it a shot. What the hell? Let's give it a shot. So if I slice through here, it's going to load for just a moment. So I can remove certain structures in here. And I can also, so I just cut those tendons and I'm showing you them on end. So among these tendons, I actually can't see it, but there's, in this image, but there's a nerve. And the nerve is called the median nerve. So imagine you got 4 or 5 or 6 tendons that are in this narrow channel, and sandwiched next to them is a freaking very delicate nerve. Nerves are made of fatty tissue. They're insulated with a fatty tissue called myelin. And so I'm going to undo that. Come on. Ah, you suck. So I boogered that. But the point is, anatomage. The point is that all those tendons sandwiched, that median nerve sandwiched amid come on, you bugger. I fucked that up. So all those tendons sandwiching this freaking median nerve, they squeeze it up and they fuck it up pretty bad. Let's try gross anatomy here. Probably take a while to. Oh my God. So we can look at my wrist here, and you can look at my digits as I squeeze like that underneath this, my epidermis, my skin. You can see all those tendons firing. So hanging out with them is this very delicate nerve tissue, comparatively delicate. Look at the calluses on those hands, man. I'm a fucking man. Dorsum of the hand, new silicone ring, to let all the ladies know that I am, all the single ladies, I'm taken. Shop elsewhere. The palmar serves in the plantar crease right there. Right beneath the skin there, not too far beneath the skin, is where those tendons live. And they're in a very tight spot. So you're constantly moving, fingers fluttering so furiously, doing all this friggin' clerical stuff and computer work and messing with devices and all that shit. There gets friction in there. It gets pissed off. The median nerve powers all the flexor muscles of the hand. And so, getting to my point, the thumb, second digit, and half of the third digit, if they go numb, painful, weak, then you could have plantar fascia or friggin' carpal tunnel syndrome. In which case, there are some things you can do. You can get braces. You can get that area worked on. You can stretch it out. You can avoid. There we go. Oh my goodness. Had to fire her back up. There we go. So everything downstream of that nerve, all the muscles that you're starting to see, many of them are powered by the median nerve. So carpal tunnel syndrome is when we squeeze off that nerve among the tendons, and then you get weakness, pain, and numbness of the first, second, third digits. You can also, if you were to get a surgical procedure there, if it came to that, conservative care failed, they would go over this flexor retinaculum, and they would just kind of give a little incision under the impression. They would just kind of create a little extra space within the carpal tunnel. And I've known some people that has helped with quite a bit. All right, you turds. Sorry for the malfunction. Look at this stuff, man. I could play around this thing for friggin' ever. Those are the mammary glands. Some adipose tissue there. Through the abdominal wall. There's the six-pack muscles. Muscles actually live inside a tendon. That's why they're segmented like that. Damn it. Clearly I have to work on my skill set with this. So I got the rectus abdominis in the middle, and you see the obliques coming in from the side here. See the angle? They're coming in an oblique angle to the rest of the abdomen. You know what's interesting? I'm not saying I friggin' know everything, but I do know that the intercostal muscles here are what you eat when you eat a friggin' rack of ribs. You're actually eating intercostal muscles. Intercostal means friggin' the muscles between the costa or the ribs. I know some cool shit. Stuff like this, you know, when you look at it, use a technology like this to really peel through the layers of the body. Look at the backstrap muscles of the frickin' lumbar spine. Look at the multifidi. These two things are called the multifidi. They're really strong, powerful, part of the erector spinae that'll stand you up erect. Straighten your spine out. They go all the way up. I always felt like anatomy and physiology was like, I don't feel like it is. It is. It is an owner's manual to your body. Who the hell wouldn't want to know about this stuff? You have to be a fucking idiot.